The crystal chandeliers of the Grand Hyatt's ballroom sparkled over my sister Lisa's engagement celebration. She stood radiant in her Valentino dress, showing off her massive diamond ring while introducing her fiancé, Chen, the rising star at Asia's largest tech conglomerate, Dragon Technologies. Ms. Zhang, my assistant Wei texted, Dragon Tech Board meeting confirmed for tomorrow. Final acquisition papers ready. I touched the jade pendant my grandmother had left me, her symbol of quiet strength passed down through generations of Zhang women. Tonight, Sarah Zhang, the sister dismissed as the family disappointment, would reveal herself as the mysterious president of Zhang Global, the investment powerhouse that had secretly acquired controlling interest in Dragon Technologies. And this, Lisa's voice dripped with false sweetness as she led Marxu toward me, is my sister Sarah. She works at, remind me again, what small company was it? Zhang Consulting. I smiled, noting how my modest Chanel suit made Lisa's ostentatious display seem gaudy in comparison. We're a boutique firm. Ah yes, Lisa laughed, clinging to Mark's arm. At least one of us made it, right? While some of us are still struggling with boutique businesses. 5 years ago her words would have cut deep. But that was before I'd built Zhang Global into an investment empire, before I'd systematically acquired tech companies across Asia, before I'd positioned myself to take control of Dragon Technologies, and with it my sister's carefully planned future. Congratulations again, I said softly, watching Mark preen in his custom tuxedo. Dragon Technologies is doing well, I hear? Oh yes, Mark boasted, not noticing his CEO's approaching figure. We're untouchable. In fact, I'm up for promotion to executive vice president next month. If they'd bothered to verify my small consulting business, they might have noticed that Zhang Global had been systematically buying up Dragon Technologies shares through various shell companies. That tomorrow's board meeting would announce new ownership. That Mark's promotion was about as likely as Lisa's genuine happiness. Through the crowd I saw Mr. Wu, Dragon Technologies CEO, approaching with purpose. Wei had timed his arrival perfectly, right when Lisa was at her most boastful. Speaking of success, Lisa continued, her voice carrying across the nearby tables, Mark just bought us the most amazing penthouse. Much better than your little apartment, Sarah. Remember when we were young and you actually thought you'd be the successful one? The crowd parted as Mr. Wu reached our group, his face showing appropriate deference. Without hesitation he bowed deeply in my direction. Madam President, he said clearly, welcome. We're honored to have Zhang Global's CEO grace us with her presence. The silence that followed was deafening. Lisa's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, the ring on her hand catching the light as she grabbed for it. Mark's face drained of color as he recognized the implications. Zhang Global, he stammered. But that's the company that's acquiring Dragon Technologies tomorrow? I finished pleasantly. Yes, it is. Lisa's perfect makeup couldn't hide her shock. This is impossible. You're nobody. Just the family failure who couldn't even get into business school. I smiled, channeling years of patience into this moment. Actually, dear sister, I'm your fiancé's new boss. The stunned silence was broken only by the sound of Lisa's enormous engagement ring hitting the marble floor, slipping from her suddenly trembling finger. This must be a mistake, Mark sputtered, looking desperately at Mr. Wu. She runs some small consulting firm. She can't possibly own 51% of Dragon Technologies? I raised an eyebrow. Would you like to see the paperwork? Wei appeared silently at my side, leather portfolio in hand, as Lisa's carefully constructed world began to crumble. When you told everyone I'd failed to get into business school, I addressed Lisa directly. Did you also tell them why? How you intercepted my acceptance letters? How you convinced our parents I was embarrassing the family by even applying? The color drained from her face as several guests turned to stare. That's not. I never. Or perhaps, I continued calmly, you'd like to explain to Mark why Dragon Technologies' confidential files kept leaking to competitors? Those files you so helpfully organized during your late-night visits to his office. Mark's head snapped toward Lisa, his ambitious mind quickly calculating new equations. What is she talking about? Oh yes, I smiled, gesturing to Wei, who produced more documents. We have quite an interesting security file on your fiancé's activities. Would you like to see it? The opulent ballroom crackled with tension as the perfect engagement party transformed into something far more revealing. Crystal glasses clinked nervously as Asia's elite business circle realized they were witnessing not just a family drama, but a major corporate power shift. "Wei," I nodded to my assistant, who began discreetly distributing sealed envelopes to key Dragon Technologies executives present at the party. "Perhaps it's time to share tomorrow's agenda." "This is my engagement party," Lisa hissed, her perfectly manicured hands shaking. "You can't just come in here and ruin your carefully orchestrated performance?" I finished, watching as executives opened their envelopes with growing alarm. "Like you ruined my college interviews? My job applications? Every opportunity that might have let me overshadow you?" Mark was frantically scanning the documents, his face growing paler with each page. "These acquisition terms, the board restructuring. Lisa, did you know about any of this?" "Of course not," she snapped, but her eyes betrayed a calculating look. "She's lying. Has to be. Sarah's never been anything but a disappointment." Mr. Wu stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. "Ms. Zhang, Madam President, has been orchestrating Dragon Technologies' transformation for months. The board unanimously approved the merger yesterday." The screens around the ballroom, meant to display romantic photos of the happy couple, suddenly came alive with financial data. Years of strategic acquisitions, careful positioning, and brilliant market moves that had built Zhang Global into a powerhouse. "Ms. Zhang," Wei announced professionally, "the complete portfolio overview is ready." Several guests gasped as the full scope of Zhang Global's empire became clear. Tech companies, innovation startups, and digital platforms across Asia, all quietly acquired and transformed under my leadership. But your consulting firm," Lisa stammered. "We checked. It's just a small office." I smiled. "A small office that gave me perfect cover to evaluate potential acquisitions. Amazing what people reveal when they think you're nobody important." The screens displayed more data: Zhang Global's complete portfolio, making several business leaders present reach for their phones. "My small empire dwarfed most of their companies combined. Your sister," Mr. Wu explained to Lisa with barely concealed satisfaction, "has revolutionized every company she's acquired. Dragon Technologies is honored to join the Zhang Global family." Mark's ambitious mind was visibly recalculating his options. Madam President, about that executive vice president position, is no longer available," I finished smoothly. "In fact, your current position is under review. We take corporate security very seriously at Zhang Global." Lisa's face, despite her expensive makeup, couldn't hide her growing panic. "What are you talking about?" "The confidential files you've been photographing during your late-night office visits," I replied as Wei projected security camera footage onto the screens. "Did you really think Dragon Technologies' security was that weak? That we wouldn't monitor our acquisition target?" The footage showed Lisa, dressed for evenings with Mark, secretly accessing restricted areas of Dragon Technologies' offices. Each image was time-stamped, corresponding with mysterious information leaks to competitors. "I was just looking out for our future," she protested weakly, "making sure Mark's position was secure." "By selling corporate secrets?" Mark's voice cracked. "Do you have any idea what this could do to my career?" I touched my grandmother's jade pendant, remembering her words, "True power doesn't need to shout. It whispers and the world leans in to listen." "Your career, Mark," I addressed him directly, "was over the moment you gave an unauthorized person access to secure areas. The only question now is whether you'll face criminal charges or merely termination." The ballroom had grown so quiet you could hear the ice melting in abandoned champagne glasses. The elegant engagement party had transformed into a corporate execution. "When you convinced our parents I was worthless," I told Lisa, whose designer dress now seemed to suffocate her, "did you think that would be the end? That I'd simply accept your version of my future?" The evening that was supposed to celebrate Lisa's triumph had become a masterclass in true power. The ballroom's elegant lighting now seemed harsh, exposing every crack in her carefully constructed facade. "Wei," I nodded to my assistant, "show them Project Phoenix." The screens filled with more data, the complete record of Lisa's systematic sabotage of my life, alongside the parallel rise of Zhang Global. Each of her attempts to diminish me had inadvertently contributed to my success. You see, I addressed the stunned crowd, while my sister was busy ensuring I remained the family disappointment, I was building something she couldn't comprehend, a company based on merit instead of manipulation. Ms. Zhang, Wei announced, the security team has completed their preliminary audit of Dragon Technologies' breaches. Mark's face went from pale to ashen as the scope of his fiancée's industrial espionage became clear. Lisa's helpful organization of his files had compromised millions in proprietary technology. You destroyed my college acceptance letters, I continued, my voice carrying in the silent room. So I studied independently, earned professional certifications and built a network while you bragged about your university parties. The screens showed more, my quiet acquisitions, strategic investments, and the systematic way I'd transformed struggling companies into innovation leaders. When you convinced our parents I was unemployable, I added, I created my own opportunities. Every small consulting job became a chance to evaluate potential acquisitions. Every meaningless project revealed market gaps we could fill. Lisa's perfect posture finally crumbled. I was protecting our family's reputation. You were always so ordinary. Ordinary. I laughed softly. Let's talk about ordinary. I gestured to Wei, who brought up more figures. Zhang Global's market capitalization is 12 times what our parents' company was worth. Every firm you mocked me for working with is now part of our portfolio. The elite crowd shifted uncomfortably, suddenly reassessing their assumptions about the Zhang sisters. Several business leaders who dismissed my previous attempts at partnerships were now frantically signaling their interest to Wei. Your sister, Mr. Wu informed Lisa with barely concealed satisfaction, has transformed the Asian tech landscape. While you were planning this engagement party, she was planning the future of digital innovation. Mark, still clutching the acquisition documents, finally found his voice. The merger terms, they're ironclad. Dragon Technologies is under new management, I confirmed. Starting tomorrow, though, given the evidence of corporate espionage, we might accelerate some changes. Lisa's expensive mascara began to run as reality set in. You can't do this. I'm your sister. Sister. I touched the jade pendant. Like you were my sister when you told my first boyfriend I had a terminal illness? Or when you convinced my best friend I was stealing from her? The screens displayed more evidence, years of calculated cruelty documented with the same precision I'd used to build my empire. Each time you tried to break me, I continued, you taught me something. About resilience. About human nature. About the difference between power and strength. Wei appeared with more files, the complete record of Lisa and Mark's corporate indiscretions. The regulatory authorities have been notified, he mentioned quietly. You've ruined everything, Lisa sobbed, her designer makeup creating dark rivers down her cheeks. No, I corrected her. I've simply revealed everything. There's a difference. The grand ballroom, with its crystal chandeliers and marble floors, had transformed from a celebration of false success to a demonstration of true achievement. The guests who had come to toast Lisa's engagement were now witnessing her complete undoing. When grandmother gave me this pendant, I touched the jade again, you laughed. Said family heirlooms were for people who couldn't afford new jewelry. But she wasn't giving me jewelry, she was giving me wisdom. The screens now showed Zhang Global's vision for Dragon Technologies' innovation hubs, research centers and digital transformation projects that would reshape the industry. While you were collecting designer labels, I continued, I was collecting companies. While you were planning this engagement party, I was planning the future of Asian technology. Mark had moved away from Lisa, his ambitious mind clearly calculating his options. Perhaps we could discuss my role in the new organization. Your role. I raised an eyebrow. I think federal investigators will be discussing that with you soon enough. The security footage continued playing, showing not just Lisa's espionage, but Mark's own ethical breaches. Each late-night office visit, each compromised file, each leaked secret documented in perfect detail. You see, I addressed them both, true power isn't about who you marry or what you wear. It's about what you build, what you create, what you contribute. Lisa's enormous engagement ring lay forgotten on the floor, its diamonds no longer catching the light. Our parents will never forgive you for this humiliation. Our parents, I smiled, are currently in a board meeting at Zhang Global's Tokyo office, learning exactly how their disappointing daughter built an empire while their successful daughter built only appearances. The evening was drawing to a close, but its repercussions were just beginning. Tomorrow's headlines would announce not just Dragon Technologies' acquisition, but the emergence of Asia's most powerful new business leader. Wei, I called out, prepare the press release. It's time everyone knew what real success looks like. The jade pendant caught the light as I turned to leave, its ancient wisdom proving true once again. Power doesn't need to destroy to win. Sometimes revealing the truth is the greatest victory of all. As I walked out of the ballroom, leaving behind the shattered remains of Lisa's perfect evening, I heard Wei begin coordinating with Dragon Technologies executives. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, and new chances to prove that true success isn't about diminishing others, it's about elevating yourself. As I stepped into my car, my phone buzzed with a message from our mother. We just finished the board meeting. Your father, he can't stop crying. Not from sadness but from shame. We never saw you, did we? Behind Lisa's spotlight, you built an empire. I touched the jade pendant one last time, remembering grandmother's final words. Let them chase butterflies, little one. You're building mountains. Wei appeared at my window. Ms. Zhang, tomorrow's headlines are ready for approval. And Lisa is in the lobby of Zhang Global headquarters asking to speak with you. Tell her, I smiled, thinking of all the times she'd closed doors in my face, that my schedule is full. But she's welcome to apply for an entry-level position, if she's ready to earn something for once in her life. The city lights sparkled as we drove away, each gleaming tower a reminder that true success isn't built on sabotaging others, but on rising above their limitations. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for tonight justice had been served cold and with perfect timing.